The other thing that you're going to need to look at and conduct when doing a literature review is you will obviously have to analyze these sources, and you will be doing that in your Cornell note-taking and when you're drafting your literature review. So make sure that you read, annotate, and reread those articles. Make sure that you identify and categorize the common themes or the key questions that are being addressed in your article. This should give you a sense as to how you yourself should consider categorizing and analyzing these articles. If they're all looking at similar concepts or theories or approaches, that then should be the way that you're going to conduct your analysis of those sources. You should sort the literature using these categories. This is when you're doing your Cornell note-taking, and then when you're attempting to utilize those sources to provide a background of this literature in your literature review. How do your sources agree? How do they disagree? And most importantly, how do they overlap? And again, that means how might they be similar and different, and therefore how can you use those sources together to make an argument? The best way to do this is construct a grid of common points. So you could have a grid in an Excel spreadsheet where you begin to list how out based on numbers or titles or whatever it may be of out of the 6 articles, 3 of them all define this research topic in this similar way. Or out of these 4 articles, all of them apply this similar methodology for research and so forth. Or you can create a synthesis tree or a concept map, whatever makes sense for you. But this will help you list every issue and category you've identified. If you use a synthesis tree or a concept map, or you use some type of Excel grid sheet, these lists will allow you to see every issue and category you have identified, and will allow you to briefly describe how each of your sources respond to this issue. Remember again, one issue that you should be examining. As you start drafting your literature review, keep in mind that you cannot merely list the sources and summarize their contents. You cannot just go through and list each article individually one by one and summarize them. That would just be like you taking your article annotations and then plopping them into a paper. That is not the purpose of a literature review. Rather, you must illustrate how the sources agree, how the sources disagree, and how they overlap by providing ample connections to lead readers to see the relationships you see. One of the things that's going to be very useful for you in this is if you were to look at one of the examples of Project 3 that is listed in the folder for Project 3 under Blackboard. You're also going to want to make sure that you look over the source that's in the Blackboard folder for Project 3 about how you might analyze sources for literature review. And you're also going to want to look at the document that is in the folder for Project 3 about how you focus and write your own literature review. For the conclusion of your literature review, you need to make sure that you have a paragraph or two where you summarize the major contributions of significant studies and articles under review, and so reiterating and reminding us the focus that you established for this research in the introduction. You need to evaluate the current research for this knowledge and this research topic that you've decided to investigate, and point out either major methodological flaws or gaps in the research, any inconsistencies in theory, areas that need future study. Again, this is going to relate to how you've decided to organize and synthesize the literature. Were you looking at gaps in the research? Were you looking at major methodological flaws? Were you looking at inconsistencies? Or were you looking at the need to further investigate or further study this topic? You'll have to choose and then use that in your conclusion to tell us, what does this all mean if I've decided to investigate, synthesize, and analyze all of this in connection to gaps or flaws in the research. And then you need to conclude by providing some insight into the relationship between the topic of the literature review, which is your own research topic, your own research question, and the larger aim of this project, to how research on this topic could be useful for your discourse community. What would this research and the way that you decided to research it and organize this research through the systematic synthesis and an analysis of the articles, what would all of this do for your discourse community? Does it extend the knowledge in some way? Does it question what we consider to be valid information? Does it ask us to continue and further investigate this research topic? What is it that this research and the way that you're looking at it, what does it do for your discourse community? What does it ask us to do? Remember also that this project will be further developed and revised during your completion of Project 4. So in Project 4, you're going to be using the literature review and you're going to be drafting up a research proposal. That means that you will develop an introduction to your research proposal. You will then be using your literature review and revising it based on the feedback and what you've learned thus far regarding how literature review should function, and then you will propose some type of intervention based on what you've decided is the issue with this research topic. So this literature review is something that we will continue to work on as the semester goes. Once again, as I indicated, this is a very complicated project. It's very difficult to use literature in a way that looks at a particular research question in a very particular way, such as questioning the methodology or finding some type of gap in that research, some problem in that research, or furthering that research in some way. And it's not something that most of you have done before, and certainly most of you have probably not tried to use 3 or 4 sources all together in order to make a claim or to build only one paragraph. You're used to using one source at a time. I highly recommend that you visit the Writing Center to get some tutoring support, but even more important, that you schedule conferences with me. You will see that there is a Doodle link for you to set up times. If those times do not coincide with your schedule, email me. We will figure something out. You can always come and see me face to face. If I am not around campus, then I am the Writing Center, and I'm more than happy to work with you and sit with you, go over your articles, come up with a game plan, come up with an outline. So please, please contact me. It would be to your benefit for this project, which is, like I said, going to be very complex and very challenging for all of you as writers. Thank you very much.